Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase, where last time we were building our new smelter stack, and here it is. Oh, I need to put a radar in here and change that station's name, but otherwise here it is in all of its glory. Just one thing I want to do is quickly give you a measure of just how is this even going to work? Perhaps. So the whole thing in its entirety. That doesn't even record the whole thing in its entirety because it doesn't tell you. Oh, it's only got. It must be losing the stuff that's not covered by radar. So let's not bother with that actually. Yeah. Anyway, it used about 6,200 speed modules or thereabouts, and a lot less of the prod modules because there's about 504 furnaces in the whole stack, in comparison to one of these which has about 720 furnaces, but they are equivalent in terms of output capability, and we have just a lot less entities here. One pathway in and out for the ore, one pathway in and out for the plate. And you'll notice also I've parked all of these trains that used to go out to the facilities here and down here, and were based in this stack 4. I've parked them all up here so that we can basically disconnect this and set them up with their new ore locations. And to that end, I am here. Well, that's not what we had in mind. Let's just get rid of a bit of the squiggles here. Okay, that was fun. Now how about you get rid of those? Thank you. What we want to do is, this is just basically to get a line. I want to ensure that my engineering train can get up there for now. Now, good rail. Good rail. Good rail. 4-way track, please. There we go. And actually what we'll do is we'll bring this back to there so that it all connects. We'll have a bit of tidy up here to do, but that's okay. I've already done the landfill. Actually a couple of other things worth noting that I've done. We're now up to 290,000 solar panels. We keep laying that out. I'll show you that very quickly. There's the map. We've moved the landfill train way up there. We have also created a landfill 3, and this one has speed modules to help it on its way. So the landfill train actually visits this one, which I've also speed moduled first, and if these don't have enough to fill it up, it will, well, it'll always actually go here, but if it's already been filled, it won't add any more at the second stone mine. So what we are now doing is disconnecting copper 4 from the rest of the base, the ore part of it, and connecting it up to new ore supplies. And also we will be demonstrating a little bit more when it comes to the ore mines themselves. So the idea of this is, if we have sort of just over 20 trains, say, serving this mine, but they're all on their own little private network here, they will not be needing quite as much UPS to work out the pathfinding for this collection of trains. It should be very straightforward. So, and also we won't get really stupid behaviour, and if they get all congested, they're only congesting themselves, so it really doesn't affect the rest of the factory. We look like we're really low on these guys. Whoops, we're not. We've got tons of them. So maybe that was a little hasty. So yes, part of this process will be to completely isolate this. However, there are a couple of functions that this impacts, of course. First of all, fuel. And the idea is we will actually have a fuel stop where the fuel supply train won't actually join this network, but will come right up close to it so that fuel can be passed from one to the other without the two needing to meet. That's the idea for fuel, which is fairly straightforward. Now, I was going to build out all of this track in advance, but it sort of gives us a bit of a chance to have a chat about how this is going to work. So I thought we'd get to that point sooner or later. We're now at a point where I need the landfill train, or I just need to carry a bunch of landfill, and it might be the second one that wins out. I might just carry a collection of landfill rather than get this train all the way up there. We'll work out on this first run whether I'm going to regret that decision or not, but certainly that's what we'll do for the first instance. Shouldn't need any of that stuff. So let's just grab our landfill. I've already used a bit to make this bridge here, so that's why we are sort of 3 carriages back now. The train can work along or run along here faster than we can, so let's use it. And yeah, we're going to need to start painting landfill at about that height. And I did wonder about this, and looks like I now know we are going to 100% run into the top of this iron. Never mind, that is part of the consequences. Now, what other consequences are there? We want to come up here. So I also want to come down to this iron. So I think I've already killed all of this stuff. I guess we'll find out soon enough. But I think also we're probably going to want to just landfill in that whole region just there. So let's quickly do that. And I might zap a bit of this. In fact, that is probably plenty. On the other hand, going up, I guess both these lakes are dead in the way, and the rest of this is probably in the way, so let's just get rid of it. While we have this landfill on us. Although, I mean, this is really just using up the landfill, and of course if I stood in a slightly better spot I could use that up a little bit more effectively. Let's just get that bit. That's always annoying, those tiny little artifacts of water that you can barely see. like these ones, for example. So that's that. Where else did we need? How much have we got? We don't have very much. I might just leave it as that for the moment. Let's start talking a little bit about, well, let's get our stuff so that we can actually carry on with our build. But what is going to be different about these? So, I mean, normally, and I mean, this is how I do it and how I've done it in every single ore patch up until this point. Basically, I get there and I smother it. Admittedly, I have taken the time out to create sparse build, but I basically smother it in miners so that I don't need to touch it again, and that's a good strategy, and it's a fine strategy for anything except gigabases that are pushing the UPS limits. So what we want to do is first of all find out, or how big is this guy? 76 million, so that's basically pretty huge. What I might do is just create 4 platforms, and in fact, do I have a 4 platform with my new regime? This is basically a 4 platform with my new regime of just 3 stack inserters per each of the platforms, and goes to about here. We could take it to about here probably. If we have a spare blueprint, I think I do, because I accidentally grabbed that one before, and that's not going to do what I want. So let's go up to there and grab that like so. Something like that. Let's just get rid of those extras. We may well end up wanting or using them, but let's just get rid of those for the moment. So that is new for platform outpost. Can we fit all that? We can. Nice. Let's get the station symbol. Roboport. No, it's ore, isn't it? Iron, copper, whatever. Tick. Map. So, if we rotate that, probably something kind of like this is what we are after. And if I use InfiniZoom to scroll out, of course it scrolls in first as it always does. How are we placed? So kind of just after these trees would be best. If I can get a if I can line up a 4 to 2 perfectly there. 4 to 2 that comes through about there. Or there. Okay, it basically means that I want another segment of this. So do that. Back to our 4 to 2. Which needs these to be changed because they should be chain guys. How are we doing for resources? And yes, I keep forgetting I've actually got a slight error in this blueprint. Those are going to need to be chain signals as well. Now, what did I do, of course, with that new blueprint? That's not it. I put a train symbol on it, didn't I? A station. That's it. And ore. So back to InfiniZoom. And yeah, that's pretty much perfect now for the outpost. So nothing too special with that, and that is fine. We actually, yeah, we've built on some of it. Never mind. I'm not very good at lining these things up, it would seem, but that's okay. So we now have our outpost. So if I want this to handle, say, 8 trains, the question is, how many miners should we have it support? And I think the answer is mining time 2. The answer is something that we're going to use in terms of how many miners we deploy. So, for example, this whole stack here can produce about just over 140,000 plates, which means since it's got a 20% productivity boost, it effectively needs about 120,000 ore. Now, if I'm going to produce 120,000 ore, 120,000 ore per minute, we can divide that by 60 to get per second, which is 2,000. If I divide that by, say, 20 trains, we get 100 per train. Now we've got our 30% bonus from mining productivity, and this is what will change this calculation over time. Our 30% productivity, so we can divide by 1.3. And then I believe the speed of a miner is 0.525 seconds per item mined, which I'm just going to round to 0.5 because we'll round up in other ways. So if it's 0.5, we'll actually have like 24 trains or 22 trains, 24 maybe, rather than just the minimum 20 that we're basing this on. But that's basically 2 ore unsped up a second. So we can divide again by 2, which would give us about 38 miners per train. But if instead we also put in speed modules, because at this point we can make speed modules at 200 a minute. There's no shortage of speed modules. We may as well use them everywhere it makes sense, and cutting down entities is certainly one of those areas. So that basically means we can times this number by a 0.4 for the fact that we can get a 150% speed boost by putting speed modules in all of our miners. And that brings us down to basically 15, let's call it 16 miners per train. If we want 8 miners at this, 8 trains feeding here to provide enough ore as 1/3 of our 24 trains, then we'll multiply 16 by 8. 16 is a nice easy number to remember, so let's keep it 16, 128. So assuming that all of my assumptions and numbers were correct, especially the 0.525, which I'm not 100% sure of, because they don't really tell you exactly what mining time and all the rest of the stuff means, but never mind. So 128 miners with speed modules should be enough to supply 8 trains at this patch. Well, 128 miners, let's go into sparse mining. So that is 63, so it'd basically be 2 of that particular pattern. Or if we go to sparse mining huge, that pattern let's just put sparse mining down for a second. That pattern has 307 miners, so we do not actually need to get the huge pattern down to fulfill our requirement of a 128 miners. So let's go back. So this one twice will be enough to supply our mining needs, or at least assuming all of them are actually on a mineable part of the surface, which if I put it there, some of them won't be, but that's not a bad place to start. Whoops. And if I can go back to running around, that would be nice. Thanks, game. So what I'm going to do is probably build this guy out. Which loadout did I actually bring? I plan a lot of these things, but not not enough, obviously. Let's run up to the train and see what it's got. So there's another piece to the pie that I haven't talked about just yet. Do you have miners on you? It doesn't look like you do, but we can always run back and get some. I need to get some rail right now. We can come down here. Let our bots finish all this off. Oh, we don't have enough stations. They thought about that for a moment, didn't they? So, yeah, so the advantage is, so we've got a storage chest, and we have auto deconstruct. So what will happen is, with our 128 miners, we will supply, we won't completely cover the field, presumably. We will supply our 8 trains, and as they get depleted, the miners will get automatically removed because we will have some construction robots here. And what will then happen is they'll remove miners, they'll put them into the chest. So what we will do is we will completely deploy our 128 mines, and maybe we'll ghost a bit extra of the mine so that as the miners finish up, they get redeployed automatically by the construction bots that are out here, and we continue to have just 128 entities instead of, say, 200 that would be needed to fill the whole thing. In this case, our 128 is probably about 80% of it, so we're not actually getting a huge benefit here necessarily, but on some other patches the benefit will be greater, as I'm sure you could imagine. But that's basically how we'll manage this, and I'll probably rig up an alarm, one of these guys, a programmable speaker, to this chest to say, well, if you fill up with, we don't really need guns, or maybe we do, there's no harm in having them, is there? If you fill up with more than, say if we overshoot the amount a little bit, and so, or just ask if you fill up with more than about 5, sound an alarm so that we can come and, using the map view, you can paste blueprints. We'll paste down a new blueprint to say, paste down some more miners here, and we can just do that, you know, 10 seconds, slap it down, go back to what we're doing, and that way we'll save ourselves even more UPS by employing even less items than we thought we might need to. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how this strategy is going to work. I don't think I can completely fill this up just here. I think what we will do is I will use the resources on this train to build this access line a little bit further along. So might as well do that. We still need to deploy like the fuel stop. I may use this to sort of do it and put the fuel stop somewhere here. This all has to get ripped out. Let's keep going, guys. I'll probably do the actual fuel stop on camera so you can see that part. Might be a little segment by itself. But yes, I'm kind of thinking this one and these two, all of them can have 8 each. When this one gets exhausted, we can tap that one. So we just need pathways up to these guys. I mean, you could actually probably set that up as 1, but I'll set it up as 2 with independent access to it. It's probably a better way to go. So we probably want at least 1 more of these. And in addition to the fuel stop, I mean, obviously we don't want the rubbish train coming and collecting the spent miners under this concept, but instead we at times may want, for example, the engineering train to come through and do some more engineering work, and or initially I might want the rubbish train to make some visits. I don't know how many trees I have to deal with up there, and all these things potentially mean that it will be disconnected but connectable. So we will be able to, however we get the fuel train in, we will also provide an almost link to be able to get the engineering slash rubbish slash supply train into this area. So guys, that's I guess I'll break here. I'll probably finish off this part and come back for the fuel train and then wrap it up. So I'll see you shortly, I think. And our continuation. So I'm back at the junction. I've just disconnected it as of this moment. What I basically want is a 4 to 2 here, because we certainly won't be allowing more than that. And to fit that in, I think we will move these trains down. This whole concept of a 4-way coming up here is about to radically change. Wrong direction, buddy. Where did you get your license? Right. We will actually rip out all of this just to ensure we have a little bit of room for what we need to do now. We don't need that. So our 4x2 will go in here. Now this will be a 4x2 that is not permanently connected, even if it's, and the wires even won't be connected either, because we don't want them to be connected, except when we need it, which is, we will actually need it at the beginning. So let us fix up these signals here, and I think these are broken, these ones anyway, but let's fix up those as well. Place this down, fix these up again, because you know, we knew it was going to happen and we were too stupid to do it the first time and just save the blueprint. We need some of those guys. Let's come up here. We do have some left, good. So we can easily swap these out though, it's not such a big deal. And there is our 4x2. Now what I want is a I want basically the idea is like a siding. So we'll have track come off here and come along and have a fuel stop and go back in, and up here a parallel one at the top, and it will also basically be like a fuel siding, and that will be part of the functionality. And the second part of the functionality will be that we have a train that can come up and pull in near it and transfer fuel via bot, probably, because it needs to get to both sides. There's not really much choice, but we won't need very many bots. So to accommodate that, the fuel train part at least, we will need a one of these guys who can go there. And then we obviously will need to do a fair bit of landfill just to see how this will all go down. So let's go back to transferring over to landfill. Hopefully we have enough to get this all done. I'm not 100% sure just yet, but we'll find out soon enough. Much left if we don't. So let's start filling this from this sort of depth. Start off with something like that. Rectangle in this little ocean. I used to have huge qualms about just using landfill to convenience myself. I've long since gone, I have to tell you. Let's see how that goes. So I'll worry about this in a minute, but basically probably after that point I want to come out like so. I need a full 383. Let's find our 383 length. That's it. So we want a nice comfortable 383 length. We then want to do the reverse, coming in here, which probably means we need slightly more landfill. Or not. And there's a special train stop, which I have gotten rid of for this fuel train, this auto train fuel stop mod thing, that we're probably going to I'll probably replace it with an extra feature in my own mod. It will probably work a little bit better done that way, but for now we're using it. So I don't think I have any on me, so I will actually have to make one. I've got to make green circuits. It's ridiculous. With our capacity to make green circuits, that is truly ridiculous, but never mind. So there is the special fuel train stop. We will place one here. So what that does is when the ore trains are requiring refueling, they'll pull in here. This will then fill up the engines at both ends, and so what it needs is a fuel train, which will need a 383 length to come in, a rocket fuel train, something like that. This is a normal stop that we need for this one, because it will simply be yet another publisher. And we can just carry this on a little bit. Perfect. You'd think I planned that. Let's just not tell anyone. And that's how it basically works. So then, of course, we just need unloading, minimal unloading. We don't need a huge amount. I need passive supply chests. I should have some of those on this train with a bit of luck. So I've already used them all, which it looks like I have. Request to chests then. We do have request to chests. Pretty sure. So let's grab those. We probably don't even need stack inserters. We can use blue inserters for the fuel train stop. And actually what I might do is, just to get all the measurements without needing to repeat them, is go to map mode up here where we've built our previous fuel train stop. We know that's the measurements, so if we place, rotate, place that down, that will that's correctly measured out for, we don't need that guy, correctly measured out for where the 383 carriages will be. We will need some roboports if I have any left. I don't know that I do. Yes, I do. Good. We won't need particularly many though, just enough to cover the area. Oh, that one's got 12. That will do. So I guess what I want to do is put them like there, and like so, and with a bit of luck that's enough so that we can get the top end in as well. I don't need nearly as wide in fact I don't need all of this. I actually wasted landfill, but we'll keep that amongst ourselves. That's all I can fit. Okay, so up here I didn't make that very symmetrical, did I? Up here we basically need the opposite of this. In fact, what do I do with that? That's the fuel, is it? Okay, let's use that. So if I grab that length and tick, and then rotate it round, it to have excuse me, don't actually want it to have the signals, I think. Let's tell it no signals. Excuse me. So, to be parallel to that, basically that, I believe. And we don't need that, because these cannot quite reach, it would seem. They cannot quite reach. I could move it up one. I'm going to have to move this one along a little bit. It's going to have to go to about there. And this one is going to have to go up as well. To there. We're out of the medium poles, but never mind. And now we just need to see if, so 1, 2, 3, these have stack inserters at the moment, but that's ridiculous. Let's give them blues. Should have done that earlier. And likewise here. Kind of think that's a bit ridiculous as well. So the actual fuel train probably can justify some stack inserters. I'm not quite sure what's happened to my stack inserters at this point. We should be able to store 50. Where are they? Oh, there weren't any. They were just ghosts. Right. Okay, of course. We have some in here. Good. So we're not going to need the most rapid unload possible. At best 2 of these, possibly even 1 would do, but it's really just to get the fuel train. We need red inserters, we need medium poles, we need all sorts of things. But yeah, the general idea, these things will reach those just, so that's perfect. A train can pull in here. We obviously need to fix up signals everywhere. This can be open for now, but obviously once it's all operational, we'll just snip the wires and snip the tracks. And I need to fix up all of this. I think I'll do all that between episodes. At the beginning of the next, I'll just show you where we're at. Thanks for joining me. Look forward to seeing you in the next. Bye bye for now.